This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. Fremont, Indiana, a tranquil agricultural hamlet nestled in the northeastern corner of Steuben County, houses a modest populace of approximately 1,500 inhabitants. Despite its serenity, the late 1800s witnessed a series of events that would enshroud the town in one of Indiana's most captivating tales of hidden treasure. George and Bill Downing, bachelor siblings, etched their names into folklore by allegedly burying a fortune exceeding $100,000 in gold coins on a neighboring farm, a cache yet to be unearthed. George, known for his frugal demeanor, amassed considerable wealth through farming and lumber ventures, abstaining from local banks, thereby fueling rumors of hidden riches. Meanwhile, his brother Bill ventured into infamy as a notorious train robber in the Wild West. Bill's trajectory led him from Indiana to Colorado in pursuit of work, ultimately crossing paths with the notorious Sam Bass Gang in Texas, adopting the alias Frank Jackson. In the annals of law enforcement history, a dramatic shootout unfolded on July 19, 1878, in Round Rock, Texas, involving Bill Downing, then masquerading as Frank Jackson, alongside members of the Sam Bass Gang. The confrontation, sparked by a dispute over firearm regulations, culminated in fatalities and injuries, including the demise of Sam Bass and Seabaum Barnes. Downing, exhibiting remarkable resolve, orchestrated Bass's escape before embarking on a tumultuous journey westward, eventually becoming embroiled in the Lincoln County War alongside Billy the Kid. Subsequently, Downing shed his Jackson alias and migrated to the lawless expanse of Wilcox, Arizona, where he aligned himself with a band of outlaws, partaking in cattle rustling and train heists. Amidst amassing wealth from illicit activities, Downing made clandestine visits to his brother George's farm in Fremont, Indiana, ostensibly stashing ill-gotten gains on the familial property, a clandestine affair known only to a select few within the vicinity. Thus, the legend of the Downing brothers and their rumored buried treasure continues to intrigue and captivate, woven into the fabric of Fremont's history, awaiting discovery by intrepid adventurers or the passage of time to reveal its secrets. Downing's avoidance of banking institutions in Wilcox was a well-established truth. However, his downfall came swiftly when he conspired with Bert Alvord and Billy Stiles to execute a daring robbery of a Southern Pacific train in Cochise, Arizona, on September 9, 1899. The intervention of Wells Fargo agents led to their swift capture and subsequent arrest. Upon investigation, it was revealed that Downing had orchestrated numerous train robberies, none of which yielded any recovered funds. Consequently, Downing was convicted and sentenced to a decade behind bars in Yuma. Upon his release in 1908, Downing confided in an old acquaintance, Billy Breckenridge, his intention to return to Indiana to unearth buried wealth. Breckenridge cautioned him to tread carefully and avoid stirring trouble, particularly in Wilcox, Arizona, where animosity towards him ran deep. The events following Downing's release from prison are shrouded in conflicting accounts, yet the truth emerged through an August 14, 1908, publication in the Arizona Press. It recounted Downing's demise at the hands of Ranger William Speed in Wilcox. Despite his advanced age, Downing attempted to maintain his notorious persona, indulging in periodic bouts of intoxication. Encounter with Ranger Speed proved fatal, as Downing, in a sober moment, found himself confronted by Speed's rifle. The ensuing altercation, fueled by long-standing animosity, culminated in Downing's untimely demise, devoid of any weapons on his person. The coroner's inquest exposed Speed's flimsy justification, citing Downing's alleged movement towards a firearm. Ironically, Downing met his end unarmed, laid to rest in Wilcox without ceremony, met with a sentiment of relief from the townsfolk. Meanwhile, George Downing, back in Indiana, grappled with his own set of challenges, unbeknownst to his late brother's turbulent fate. As Downing sat at his kitchen table one evening, enjoying his supper, the tranquility of his home was abruptly shattered by the intrusion of two unfamiliar men. Swiftly, they overpowered him, forcing him to the ground and binding his hands with coarse binder twine. One of the intruders, his face contorted with aggression, demanded information about buried gold, asserting knowledge of Downing's supposed wealth and his outlaw brother's visits from Arizona. Dismissing their accusations, Downing adamantly denied any knowledge of hidden riches, insisting on his humble circumstances. Enraged by his refusal to cooperate, the assailants resorted to brutality, subjecting Downing to torture in a futile attempt to extract information. Despite enduring excruciating pain, Downing remained resolute, steadfastly refusing to divulge any secrets. After a relentless night of torment, the assailants eventually departed at dawn, leaving Downing bound and battered. Concerned neighbors, discovering him in distress, promptly intervened, freeing him from his restraints. Armed with the details of the harrowing ordeal, the neighbors swiftly mobilized, forming a posse to pursue the perpetrators. Concurrently, authorities were alerted, prompting the involvement of the Steuben County Sheriff's deputies, who joined the pursuit. Following the trail into the nearby woods, the determined posse swiftly located the campsite where the assailants had sought refuge, ensuring that justice would be served for the heinous assault perpetrated against Downing. Evidence suggested that the two men had surveilled the Downing farm for several days before launching their assault on the elderly George. The pursuing posse traced their path to the outskirts of Fremont, but lost their trail upon entering the town. Eyewitnesses reported sightings of the strangers in Fremont days prior, although their identities remained unknown. Among the townsfolk, speculation swirled regarding George Downing's rumored stash of wealth, purportedly exceeding $100,000, buried somewhere on his farm. Following his traumatic encounter with the assailants, Downing's physical condition deteriorated, necessitating the use of 2 canes. Observers often spotted him laboriously navigating his property, occasionally substituting 1 cane for a long-handled shovel, fueling suspicion of clandestine excavations. George Downing passed away in 1917 at the venerable age of 90, leaving behind his homestead situated on the east side, facing the north-south road. The barn stood to the north of the house, while a log corn crib occupied the space between the 2 structures. In the years following Downing's demise, curiosity seekers scoured the premises, albeit without the aid of modern metal detectors, yielding no documented discoveries. Despite the exodus of residents during the Great Depression, the legend of Downing's buried fortune endured. Decades later, 2 Indianapolis businessmen, Ben Wyrick and McCammon, embarked on a quest armed with a metal detector. Camping in the nearby woods, they meticulously combed the old Downing farm, eventually detecting metal buried east of the dilapidated log barn. Before they could commence excavation, a shotgun-wielding man emerged, asserting ownership of the land and accusing them of hunting for the elusive Downing treasure. Unfazed, Ben Wyrick calmly explained their purpose, inviting the man to inspect their findings. However, met with hostility, the man rebuffed their inquiry and ordered them to vacate his property, refusing to divulge his identity. With a gesture of his shotgun, he compelled the intruders to retreat, leaving the mystery of the Downing fortune unsolved. Ben Wyrick and McCammon, without uttering a word, retreated across the road to their camp as the purported landowner observed from a distance. With a watchful eye, he witnessed their departure, observing them load their belongings into their pickup truck. Doubt lingered in the minds of Ben Wyrick and McCammon regarding the legitimacy of the man's claim to the land. Driving only a short distance up the road, they veered off into the woods, waiting patiently for nightfall. Under the illumination of the full moon, they stealthily returned to the farm, excavating the spot where the metal detector had indicated earlier. Digging about 2 feet deep, they unearthed 2 weathered cans brimming with $10 and $20 gold coins. Their nocturnal search yielded no further discoveries, prompting them to carefully refill the hole, camouflaging it with fallen leaves and grass to conceal their find. Aware that the so-called landowner would be vigilant during daylight hours, they swiftly packed their belongings and departed for Indianapolis, enriched by their clandestine venture. This marked the solitary known instance of treasure unearthed at the Downing farm in recent memory. With the escalating worth of gold, the estimated $100,000 cash presumed to be buried there would now command a value of approximately $2 million. Ben Wyrick and McCammon's findings represented merely a fraction of this substantial fortune. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, TrueTalesOfBuriedTreasure.com.